I have my own business. I don't know if you guys can see. Can you guys see this here? This is my logo, More to Hoops. And I'm actually just coming in because I had summer camp today. We had little ballers camp, so I had little kids, ages 4 to 7. And I like to have fun. I don't like to be on a Zoom call with people who want to act shy because I like to have fun. Okay, there. See, I broke the ice. Okay, who's next?
I'll go.
No shyness.
My name is Levy, and I am 18, and I've been with Girls Inc. for about 13 years, and I'm really excited to hear what you have to say to us. So
Okay, cool. Who's next?
I'm Isabella, and I'm tuning in from Kansas.
Okay. And I forgot to say, I'm in Georgia, Alpharetta, Georgia. Sorry.
I'm 16. Someone else's turn.
Where we at? Oh.
I'll go next. I'm Abby, and I almost said I'm 18. I'm not 18. I'm 19.
Okay.
I'm currently home from college, about to go back, and I'm working as a volunteer with Maggie's group.
Cool.
Who's next?
I'll go. I'm Sarah. I'm program coordinator at Girls Inc. of Santa Fe, and I'm a former Chicagoan, though I live in Santa Fe right now.
I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Big West. Who's next?
I'll go next. I'm Becky. I'm the program manager for the teen programs at Girls Inc. of Santa Fe. And I also am from Chicago. And I'm super excited because I love basketball. So this is awesome.
Who's next?
I'll go. I'm Erica. I'm 14 and I'm from California.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I moved here like 6 years ago.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Maggie. I'm a facilitator. I've been most of these girls' facilitators, and I'm excited that there's a all-star athlete in the room.
Wait, where is she? Where is she?
It's Becky.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? So I'm being very honest with you. What's your name?
My name's Indira. I'm 17 and I was a Girls Inc. girl for like 6 years, but I volunteer more for the last 2 years.
Cool. I love the spirit of giving. So I think that's awesome that you volunteer. Like, I think, someone always asks me like, well, what did you want people to remember you by? Like, I'm a giver. Like, I'm happy when I'm giving. I don't really do well receiving, which I probably should, because at some point you have to receive, but I'm a giver. So I think that's awesome that you are volunteering. Anyone else? So, Maggie, I'm going to be very transparent. Like Rusha and Yolanda, they reached out to me. It's like, hey, do a Zoom call. I was like, I said yes before I even knew what I really was doing. That's just me. So if you can kind of give me a little guideline of kind of what we want to talk about, or that would be helpful.
Absolutely. I will also be transparent. I feel like, Sarah, you really are the person to answer this question.
Okay.
Hi. So we would love to hear about your kind of journey to being a professional basketball player, and just about kind of the path of how you got there. We do have some questions later that we can ask, but really just we wanted to hear kind of like, what is your story? How did you get to be a professional player? What was that experience like? Oh yes, perfect. So I think that would be a great place to begin. And then we also have questions that we're excited to ask.
Cool. So I'll give you a little snippet. I basically was good in basketball from the time I started, which I started in the 8th grade. And I was always the tallest person. I was all like on picture day, I always had to be in the back with the boys because they were taller and the girls were shorter. So finally something comes along that I don't mind, kind of being with the boys, like, because I used to play with boys all the time in basketball. So basically in high school, I played varsity and I got a lot of recognition from college coaches on. And so what happened was I got recruited, and you guys get 5 visits to go to college when they recruit you. And you guys, everywhere I went, I told them I was coming. And it just so happened Tennessee was the last place I visited, and I said I was coming, and I went there. But let me tell you how karma gets you. I was very lazy, had a lot of attitude, and didn't want to work hard. Didn't know I was going to the place where they worked the hardest, and Pat had something would not tolerate having an attitude. So I walked myself right into boot camp, attitude boot camp. So I went to Tennessee, learned the hard way, got kicked out a lot of practices, got threatened a lot of times, I'm gonna send you home, before I really got my act together. So why am I telling you this? To say, hey, you can be a little rough around the edges, and if you run into the right people that want to smooth you out, good things can happen. Because basically that's what happened for me at Tennessee. Pat had Summit, which I think is one of the best coaches ever, rest her soul. Her and her staff, they believed in me and they said, look, you're gonna do things the right way and the Tennessee way. And I was just like, why they wanna, mess up all of this? You wanted this, why we wanna change it? But look, unbeknown to me, that there's a right way to do things. So I only played 3 years because I was in a terrible car accident, you guys. And I don't know if anybody of you guys know this, but I was not supposed to play basketball again after that accident. I was in a coma for 47 hours. I broke every bone in my face. My chin was in my ear. So they basically cut from here to here, lifted the skin up, and put wire in my face to connect all my bones back together. To this day, I still have some wire, but a lot of them is gone. So you know how you go through the thing at the airport and they x-ray you? And so they'll see all the different stuff in my face. I broke my hip, and because I chose not to have a pin put in the socket, my parents chose to just have me have it lifted up in the air for like 6 weeks. They said I would probably never walk again, and if I did, I'd have a limp, so I definitely wouldn't run again, so I definitely wouldn't play again. Ha ha. God had a different plan for me and the doctors, because a year later, I came back to Tennessee. We won another national championship. I always say that's because of me, because they didn't win the year before, and we won the year before when I was there. So we won a championship, and I basically busted my butt. And I got back, but the thing that I took from that is I had a conversation with God. You know how we always promise God when we get in trouble, like, God, if you get me out of this, I'm going to be such and this. Because I don't have a lot of promises I don't broke. But I told God, I said, if you allow me, because my mouth was wired shut, so I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk, couldn't eat. And I said, God, if you just allow me to be a little human, I said, I will be a better person. I will be respectful. I will appreciate the day. And so I kept true to that promise to this day. So when I got out the hospital, which I was in there for a long time and I went through rehab, I was just a nicer person. I was a better person. Everybody's like, who is this chick? Because I was like, yeah, I had attitude, like, I'm good, so move over. And so I became a better teammate. I became a better sister. I became a better friend. I became a better daughter. And it was because I was in a 5-car accident and I was left for dead. And then even me coming out the coma, they never thought I'd do anything that I set out to do. So I won another championship. I left Tennessee. I graduated early because I only played 3 years. Then I got an agent who had all these teams vying for me. So I went overseas and I played overseas for about a good 5 years. And then I also played USA basketball. And I got an invitation to try out to be a part of the dream team. They had a men's dream team, so they had a women's dream team. And I went out and tried out, probably maybe 300 women or so. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me decline that. Sorry. And I made it, and we went on to be the dream team that you guys know about. We won the Olympics here in Atlanta. Did commercials, shoe deals, just had some fame. still played ball, went and played in the ABL and the WNBA for 5-6 more years, and I went on to coach. I coached with, I don't know if you guys know Dawn Staley, who's was an awesome player, awesome coach. Coached with her at Temple in South Carolina, and Nell Fortner, who does ESPN, and she's now the coach at Georgia Tech. And in between that, you know, I secretly got married, had a baby, who's now 22. So when my son got in high school, I made a decision to be his biggest cheerleader. So I stepped away from coaching, and I just wanted to give him my time. So I started my own business called More to Hoops, where I train, I mentor, and I pour into young people. First it was supposed to be girls, but now I have more boys I train than girls. Go figure. And I also do some college consulting. But I think the biggest thing that I love to do is anytime I get an opportunity to share my platform, I share it. Anytime I get an opportunity to let people know that it doesn't matter where you start, because this isn't a sprint, this is a marathon, life, the thing we call life. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. To me, it's about how impactful you are. And when I say that, it's like, what are you doing to impact someone else's life to make it better? And so for me, that's what I want to be known for. Like, she was impactful. Like, not she made a lot of money, not she had all these accolades, not she hung out with this celebrity. No, she would take the time to be on a Zoom call and say, hey, y'all, what's up? Let's chat. You know, like, that's what I want to be known for. So in a roundabout way, I kind of just gave you a little scenario about how I became a professional athlete, you know, how I became a business owner, how I became a better person. So there you have it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Maggie, do you have the questions that your girls came up with?
Yay.
I do. I think a good one to start with was, what did it take for you to get to be a professional athlete? And I think that question comes from more so what maybe can young people do to get to that point?
Well, I think, first of all, I think things are a lot different now. When I became a professional athlete, it was all about athletic ability. It was all, you were good, people noticed that. Now, because I think a lot of thanks toward the WNBA and other empowering things for girls, it's more competitive. So now you have to be more prepared. So there's a lot of kids that have personal trainers. I train a lot of kids. There are kids that work out a lot. They put a lot of hours into it. Whereas before, like, I was only in the gym about 2 hours. I wasn't probably doing no much more than that. Now that's just like, that's really not gonna cut it. Like, you've really gotta be disciplined. It's almost like girls now have to choose between going to the prom, going to a tournament, hanging out with your friends at the mall, being in the gym with your trainer, or at practice. And then, you gotta take care of your books, because you can't be successful and be a dummy. You just can't do both. I mean, there are some successful people that are not that smart. I don't know how they did it, but I wouldn't advise it. So I would just say, you got to put the work in. And before you put the work in, you have to want it. You have to desire it. You got to love it, because the days you don't want to do it, you got to do it. The days you don't want to go to the gym, you gotta be there. When you wake up and something's aching or not feeling good, you gotta be like, yo, let's go. It's go time. And that's not easy if you don't love what you're doing. So I always tell people, like, your parents can't want it more than you. Your mentors can't want it more than you. You gotta want it, and you gotta understand it. It's work, but it's work that will pay off. So, that would probably be my biggest take from it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. The next question is, was it hard to live up to the expectations, or is it hard to live up to the expectations of being a professional athlete?
For me, it wasn't that hard, because I think in women's sports, the biggest expectations is like being a professional at all times. And I think by me attending the University of Tennessee, and understanding how Pat was like, we do things the right way. Well, doing things the right way is when you don't feel like it, you still sign an autograph. You still put a smile on your face because these people have paid tickets to come watch you play. You don't know if they had to put this in their budget. You don't know if they didn't pay something. Like, I don't know anybody's walk. So for me, I felt like being a professional athlete is a godsend because it gives me an opportunity. Like, it's like I'm valid. Like, I used to go and do substitute teaching. And the minute kids found out that I played professional basketball, I had their attention. Where there were educators who educated for 30 years and kids would be so rude to them because they're like, she's just a teacher. And I'm like, no, we need educators. I'm just an athlete. But, so I use it for my platform. So I don't really take it as, it's got to be, because I just think if you have a moral compass, some sort of a moral compass, then you really relish the fact that people look up to you. Like some people want to be like you. And now this is your opportunity to pour into people. That's how I kind of look at it. Now, can I say that for all of my colleagues? No. I mean, some people have different ideas of what a professional athlete is. Something like the money, the fame, woo, woo, woo. No, it's more than money and fame. Like, again, it's like, how impactful can you be? So I hope I answered that okay.
I like that. I like that answer.
Thanks.
All right. Well, digging a little deeper. What types of sexism and challenges have you faced, and how have you dealt with that?
Well, there's a lot of that in our field. I was just having this conversation with my son. We were coming from camp because he's on his way overseas. And he asked me, he goes, Mom, did you ever experience racism when you played overseas? And I said, you know what, Chancellor, I never really did. The only thing I experienced was I remember we were in Germany in a small town and it's like they'd never seen tall Black women. And I remember kids just staring at me like I was a freak or something. And I kept saying, why are you staring at me? But, never that. But the sexism, I think my whole life, because as athletes, we've always felt like we go overseas and play for 9 months. And I'm playing for the same club. Like when I was in Turkey, like I played for the same club as say like a guy did, but his contract was probably 15 times more than mine. And I could never figure it out because our fans were about the same. They packed the house. In Europe, they love sports. And we were run by a soccer, as they say, football team, but a soccer over there. So they had lots of money. So I could never figure out why I always felt like an afterthought. I'm like, I'm scoring more points and more rebounds, yet his contract is like really larger than mine. And even in the WNBA, it wasn't so much like I had a grip on that because it's like, we only play 3.5 months. We shouldn't make what the NBA players make because they play 9 months. But we still need to get some more TV coverage with ESPN and ABC, so, and I think when I was a part of the Dream Team and we went around different places, we were able to help bridge some of that. And you see, like, it's coming away, but I would just say in types of like pay, accommodations, like I'd always be blown away that the guys were in such and such. But when I was on a USA team, they treated us like equal. If the guys were in Villa, we were in Villa. If they flew the guys, wives and family in, they flew our families and stuff in. USA basketball, they do a great job of that. But, FIBA has a long way to go. The federation overseas. I think the NBA, they're trying to bridge the gaps as much as possible. I think in colleges, they try to have the whole equal, but it just isn't. And I think for so long, we just be like, oh, okay, that's how they're just going to do things. Like, I think we're in a year of, even though 2020 is a mess, we've had a lot of loss and a lot of changes. I think the good thing coming out of 2020 is people are taking off blinders. Issues that we feel are important are finally being heard. And it's like the whole Me Too movement, the whole, unfortunately, a lot of people losing their lives for insane reasons, but there's a movement going on. Like the WNBA just started, their floors have, Black Lives Matters, this life matters, and the NFL doing such and such. So it's like we're addressing a lot of issues that we've been kind of sweeping under the rug. So I think I have been guilty of not really paying close attention of they're not treating us right, because that's the way it always has been, you know? So I am so thankful for the young ladies that are now standing up for our rights and are saying, you know, enough is enough. I'm thankful for men who are saying, you know what, most of them are girl dads, but they're saying, you know what, they're not being treated right. So I'm thankful. I have experienced, I haven't embraced it, but I have experienced all the other things. And unfortunately, I feel like we're going to keep experiencing. I don't know when it's ever going to be a complete level field, but I do know there are a lot of strides being made towards making that happen.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. The next question I have is, how do you balance the relationship between femininity and athleticism?
Good question. Because when I coached, I noticed a lot of girls felt like they had to look tough for somebody to respect their game. And I was like, you do not. I said, my good friend Lisa Leslie and Tina Thompson go on the court with lipstick on. And they will beat your head off, score 30 points and get buckets, as the kids say, on you, and walk off the court and put their pumps on and be like, you ready to roll. I am a sweatshirt, jeans. I'm kind of what they call like a new age tomboy, girl, because I like wearing my sweats and sometimes not having on makeup. And then just as quick, I can pop on some lashes, you know, do my hair and put the foundation on and keep it twisted. Like, I just feel like you have to feel within yourself a certain way of femininity. Like, I am woman. My clothes don't dictate me being a woman. The makeup, my hair, it's going to be something that's just going to radiate within you. And then it's going to show the outside. I don't feel like you have to look like a boy for somebody to respect whatever sport you play. I don't feel like you have to act like a boy or a man for somebody to respect you in the workplace. If you put the work in, and if you respect yourself and you make sure other people respect you, everything else will take place. Not to say you got to go out and be super, super, super girly for people to say, oh, well, she's a girl. No, you can have, and I'm saying this to the younger women, you can have a sense of prettiness or sexiness without even having no makeup. It could be the way you smile, the way you hold your head, the way you walk. Like, you don't have to overdo it in the CoverGirl makeup or the MAC. You don't. Because sometimes they be like, you look a mess with all that mess on. So I just think it's within you. It's your personality. It's like how you rate it. It's like a little smile. Like, I don't know your name. Like, you have the glasses on with the white shirt, right? Down low. What's your name? You. What's your name?
It's Megan, I think.
Is it Megan? Megan, is that you? Wave if it's Megan.
Hello.
Like, I'm watching Megan, and Megan was there, and she had the cutest little, not like a smile, but like she was listening. I was like, right there, that's pretty to me. That's like feminine to me. Like, and she's not trying to do anything. So, you know, I say, let your game speak for yourself. You don't have to go out. Excuse me. Whoa, someone up. You don't have to go out and think you got to be a thug. And then if you want to, like she got her hat to the back, love it. Yeah, I see it.
Sorry.
Like that's like, I feel like everybody has an edge, a swag. That's her swag. Like, I love it. Like, figure out your swag and rep it to the best of your ability.
Nice. Well said. The last question I have on my list, and then if there's anybody else that would like to pose a question also, is, was it fun?
What was fun?
Was being in the WNBA, your tours in the Olympics, all of it, was it fun?
Absolutely. It was fun. And this is probably not a word, it's funner now that it's all over with, because when you're training with Tara Vanderveer, who's coach at Stanford, and you're training hard and you're in the gym for 4 or 5 hours, it doesn't seem fun. But the moment you got on the court and people were screaming your name and the arenas were sold out, people's buying your jerseys, they're coming up to you with your cards, want you to sign, or you're getting stuff in the mail, you're like, wow, all this for me? Like, and just to see how excited kids are to watch you play or to meet you, like, Heck yeah, that was fun. It was fun. And I feel like I was blessed. It's the biggest blessing ever to be able to be just me and I loved and try to perfect and have people love me for that or want to be in the midst of me for that or say, hey, I'm going to pick up a basketball and I'm going to be great because you were great. Like, so yeah, it was so fun to travel. Like, yeah, we got to hang out. Like, I remember, like, I've been to the White House probably 12, 15 times. I've met different presidents, hung out in the Oval. I had hung out with President Clinton so much, I was calling him Bill. I was like, what's up, Bill? Hey, Hillary. But I mean, it like they, because I'm silly like that, and they joke back with me. But like, I got the torch from the president and got an opportunity to run around the lawn in the back and then hand it off. Like, you know, like everybody can't say they had that opportunity. And I got all that from being an athlete who they felt was the epitome of an American who took what God gave them and used it. So, you know, I get the opportunity to be on a Zoom call with people from all different parts of the country, from Girls Inc. that are giving. I get a chance to like get a part, know a part of your world, all because of basketball. So, is it fun? Yes, it continues. It's the gift that keeps on giving. It continues to keep being fun. So, like, I'm ecstatic about the opportunities I get, that I still get to get, but it all came from a girl in the 8th grade who was taller than everybody else, and the coach said, you need to play basketball. And I'll never forget that coach. I'll never forget my college coach. I'll never forget all the people that came in my path that pushed me when I didn't want to push anymore, or that, you know, tugged my collar when it needed to be tugged, you know, that, and even the drunk driver that hit us, because he basically set my course in action for me to be a better person. So I'm so thankful, had tons of fun, but more than fun, I just have a gratitude, an immense gratitude. So yes.
Awesome. Anybody else have any other questions that you want to ask?
Anybody?
I've got one or two.
Okay.
So I work with some of the older teens on our Teen Leadership Council, and we do advocacy. So we pick projects and we work on things to improve our community, our state, our country. And you addressed this a little bit, but talking about equal pay for female athletes. And I was just wondering what you think the steps are towards like more equal pay or, you know, better working conditions. Like what do you think it would take to get there?
I really think it's going to take the support of, like, you can't say we need to make the same amount of money when your arenas are half full or your gyms are not full. So it's going to take support of outside people. It's going to take more support from contracts with commercials and sponsorship. It's going to take more advocacy of people that are really good at the different sports to step up and say it. Like I remember like Mia Hamm from soccer. They was like, I don't care if I get blackballed, I'm speaking. We need to make more money. We tour, we're selling out our what's the word I'm looking for? Our paraphernalia sells out everywhere. So I think those are the steps. I know for the WNBA, we can't keep crying, we need to make money, we need money, when our arenas are like half full, because that's a lot of money that owners are losing out when they can't fill the arenas. So the public has to help us. We have to be able to prove that we're a product that is needed and wanted. And then athletes, we have to be more advocates of ourselves and our brains. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to get with companies like Girls Inc. and other companies that support girls and figure out ways to make sure that everybody is heard and that we have certain initiatives in place. Like to do this, we just need the funding. So like I said, I think it is definitely a concern, but it is something that's going to have to take a village. It's going to be different parts that have to come together and have to be strategic, because you don't get people ears that often. So when you get the ear of somebody that's going to make some decisions, you have to get it. Like, for prime example, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he's a basketball player. His name is escaping me right now, and I'm a friend of his, and he would be so insulted. He's a guard. He just donated 1.5 million to give to any WNBA player that's decided that they're not going to play this year due to COVID-19 because they might have an underlying issue, or they're going to be like a Maya Moore who's not playing because they're helping social injustices. So he is donating. Kyrie, he is donating 1.5 million. So people like that help us get ahead. You get his ear, because he's gonna say, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, right? And now you get him, and say you get a Kevin Durant, who's a big advocate, and you get a LeBron James. So now you got 3 power players, right? Now they know big people, right? We get them in the room, and we get you from Girls Inc. We get somebody from WNBA. We get somebody from soccer. We go, these are the initiatives we have in place. What do you think? So you get that other side of the sex that is on our side, that support us. There you have it. Because Kobe Bryant, he was on to something. Bless his soul that, he left our world a little early. But so now somebody else has to pick up that torch. And I do think it's going to be Kyrie. But that's what I think has to happen.
And this is Bridget from NBA alumni, but just to piggyback off of what Carla said, ladies, so everybody knows the iconic orange WNBA hoodie that Kobe Bryant wore front row at a couple Lakers games, at a couple other things. He would be sitting next to his daughter Gia, and that sweatshirt was the #1 selling item on the Fanatics website. Fanatics is a sports merchandising company, for those who don't know. But it was the #1 seller just, what, Carla, 2 days ago, I think it was, because all of the NBA guys to their scrimmages wearing it and just flooded social media with support. And Carla, to your point, I think if it wasn't for Kobe and if it wasn't for Kyrie and these other male superstars stepping up to support their sisters in basketball, you need those male allies, unfortunately, in sports, but basketball's getting it. So I just wanted to make that point, that the WNBA sweatshirt was the #1 seller, and it sold out, and people are demanding it to be restocked.
Yeah, I couldn't even get one. I went online. I was like, I can't even order one, and I'm a WNBA legend. I can't get one. So yeah, that's such a valid point, because I know when I played, and I'm really dating myself, but Shaquille O'Neal, he would be front and center at our games, front and center. We were in Orlando, Disney World, so it's like that went a long way for us. So like I said, we have to band together. We have to get the ear of people who want to be for our cause. So like I said, I think we're getting there. It's gonna be some time. Like in the WNBA, believe it or not, we're still a new product. I keep telling everybody, we're a new product. I used to tell when I played, I told my counterparts, you guys, we're a product that has to be sold. So when people want an autograph, give them an autograph. You give people a smile and you give them your best play, because at the end of the day, we're entertainment. We're here to entertain them. So I think the W has come a long way with just a lot of the initiatives that we're doing, a lot of the people that we're putting in front of the camera, and just a lot of groups that we're partnering with. So like, before I forget to say that, I just want to thank Girls Inc. for all the great things you do. I, unfortunately, when I was you guys' age, I didn't have that. Like, we had like the why, but it was more, oh my God, who keeps calling me? I'm so sorry. Like, I told people, don't call me. But anyway, like, I just want to say thank you and just continue to do all the great work that you do.
Oh, thank you so much. Another question, kind of on that advocacy line. You mentioned the WNBA and the focus that they've put on Black Lives Matter and like having Breonna Taylor's name it seems like the WNBA and the NBA have been much more willing to be vocal and visible in their support of social justice issues than some of the other professional leagues. And that's starting to change a little bit. But I'm just wondering if you have a sense of why that might be, why the WNBA and why basketball has been either more able or more willing to kind of speak up about those social justice issues than, say, the NFL or baseball or hockey.
I simply think we have great leaders. I think we've had great leaders. I mean, from when Commissioner Stern was there, you know, our leader that's in place now, he learned from Commissioner Stern. You know, we've had great leaders in the W and the NBA for as long as they've been in existence. And I think when you deal with great leaders who are good people and who have a good moral compass, great things are going to happen. So for me, I can't see any other way that we're supposed to respond to how we're responding. Like, to me, it's just a natural cause. I work for the W as a director of player personnel, and I had the privilege of sitting in on different meetings, and I seen how they ran business, and they just, from top to bottom, it's a first-class organization. They may do stuff that people might not always like, but they've always had a great pulse on what's going on in our community. And as a player who was a WNBA player and then worked, like, to me, that we're doing what we're supposed to do. We've always been trailblazers. It seemed like sports have always followed the NBA. Like, when the NBA said, yeah, we're going to shut this down when COVID, Corona came around, because we're worried about our players. People were still playing. The moment the NBA said they shut down, guess what happened? Everybody else shut it down. And I just feel like that comes from having great leadership. And I'm just happy that we have that great leadership. And we have great people that take the time to listen, that take the time to do their due diligence in finding out the facts and matters. And they know we're a league. Our league is comprised of a high percentage of African Americans. I mean, it is what it is. And as African Americans, there are things that have happened to our race, whether it be good or whether it be bad. But what makes me so proud to be a WNBA legend is I know that our commissioner is going to have our back. I know our commissioner is going to listen to us, and then I know our counterpart is going to listen. So to answer your question, I think why is that? Because we have great leaders.
Awesome.
I don't know if you want to piggyback on that about the WNBA or the NBA, but like, I think it's just simple. I think if you talk to any of our players, they're going to tell you we have really good leadership. And it's easy because they listen to us.
That's great. That's great to hear. Okay, I have one more question, which is, so you spent a lot of time kind of traveling abroad, playing abroad. What did you learn about other countries and other cultures from having that experience of living and working abroad? And then did it change how you thought about our country and our culture just from having that experience?
Well, I learned my first couple of years in Spain and Italy. I learned that everybody thought Americans were very wealthy, rich. And I was like, no. There's some of us that's got to work every day. But I think the biggest thing I learned is that our country, we're leaders. Like, people expect for Americans to do the right thing. And then they want to like follow. Like, when I was over there, a lot of athletes always wanted to find a way to get over to the United States so they could play in the United States. I also found out that, it was my duty to learn the different cultures. Like, I was probably a little illiterate going over, because I just thought everybody did things the way we did. No, like, I remember when I played in South Korea, like the girls on my team, they couldn't look at the coach in their face. And I was like, looking at him in his face, like, yes. And they was like, no, that's disrespectful. I'm like, I'm an American. We look at people in the face. So like, you had to like respect different cultures. And then like, in Italy and Spain, like, they shut down. Like, they shut down stores like from like 12 to like 4. And I'm like, who does that? I'm like, that's our prime time. But they shut down because to them, it's important for kids to come home from school and for a family to sit down and eat a meal together, to have their fellowship together. And that was important. I was like, where they do that at? I had lunch with my family. You know, like, so I learned, like, you know, for that coach, that's very important. Like, and some coaches, like, they want their people to live with them until they get married. And sometimes America, we like, oh, you 18, you gotta go. You know, like, so it was just different things. But I think the biggest thing I learned is that I am so blessed to be an American, because there's so many privileges that I have that I took for granted. Like, before like 9/11, before this whole COVID-19, the freedom to wear what we wanted to wear, to go where you wanted to go. Like, a lot of people don't have that freedom. The freedom to like play sports in middle school, in high school, and college. In Europe, they don't really have college athletes. They play in clubs and they bring foreigners over to make professional. So, I mean, so it was like our money system to plans. Like, there's so many things as American that we have privilege to do. Sometimes we don't want to do it, like getting our kids to go outside and play. Like, some kids can't go outside certain times a day. So I say for me, the biggest thing playing overseas was learning the different cultures, which I did kind of later at the end of my career. Because I'm being very honest, when I was young, I was a hothead. I was like, let's get this money, let's play, let's go. And then it was like, people would ask me like, oh, well, how was it playing in Greece? Did you do something? And I was like, no, I didn't. And then like something clicked. So when I was lucky enough to go play in Greece twice, then I start looking at the different art. I start going to the different bowls where they had all the Grecian like matches or whatever. Like, I took the time when I was in Rome to go to some of the cathedrals and look at the fine art. You know, when I was in Berlin, go over there and look at the wall, you know, like just, and then talk to people. I took the time to learn broken languages. I didn't speak it that well. But so I think the biggest thing I got back was, we're an American, you guys. And even though 2020 has our country in a mess, we're still so much fortunate than a lot of other countries, a lot of other people. Just from women playing sports, having the ability to do what we want to do, work the jobs we want to work. And going to school, like in Asia, like in Japan and China, these kids, you guys, are so competitive. Like, a 4.0 is not good enough for them. They're literally talking about suicide because they don't have like a 4.8. And I'm like, girl, you crazy, you're smart. Like, in America, like, you know, we celebrating if you're 3.3, you know? So I would just tell everybody, like, if you get an opportunity, I would say travel abroad. But if you never get an opportunity, just know being an American is like the stuff. Like, we take it for granted, but it is, I don't know, like y'all don't say lit anymore, huh? Because my son always tell me I be dating myself. Nobody say that anymore. I'm like, okay, well, we are lit as Americans, okay? Like, we have so many opportunities. So you guys have to take all the opportunities that's given to you and run with it. Because there's people in different countries that are your same age and they don't have it. So I hope I kind of answered that a little bit, but that was one of the biggest takeouts from playing abroad.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much. All right, ladies, if you have any questions, this is the last chance. We're just about out of time.
Somebody outside in the backyard in a hammock, and I am jealous. But that's living life right there. I'm jealous. Okay, I'm sorry. What's your question, sweetie?
You coached, just so that I make sure I have my facts right, you coached both boys and girls, right?
I did.
Okay. So then I was wondering, like, was there a way that you taught specifically girls how to play together and how to treat each other well? Because especially like at high school age, like a lot of these girls they'll face a lot of clashing with other girls their age. And I know that when I was their age, and I'm not that much older than them, I had a really hard time getting along with girls my own age. And Girls Inc. taught me how to do that better. So I was wondering if there was a way that you taught the girls how to treat each other better, and then the boys how to be kinder to the women around them when you were coaching.
Well, basically, I never really coached gender-wise. Because I think basketball is basketball. And that's how I coach it. So when I coach girls, I coach them to be tough. Just like I coach a dude to be tough, right? And the one thing I coach both sexes respect, to be respectful. And like girls, sometimes I think we get caught up in wanting to please people and thinking we got to be friends. And I tell people all the time, you don't have to be anybody's friend, but you're going to respect each other when you're on the court. I played on a team where people didn't like each other. Nobody could tell it because when we got on that court, we played basketball. We had one goal in mind. We're going to win this game so we can win the championship. And the thing is, I think we get caught up so much as wanting to like everybody. It'd be a great world if everybody liked everybody, but you guys, it's not going to be. I tell people, get caught up in having people respect you. Because the one thing people are going to do, you're going to respect me because I'm going to give you respect. And I think if you give respect, then you're going to get respect. And the people that don't respect you, they're going to be left on this little island by themselves. And so, you know, that's the one thing I tell girls, because sometimes we get mad at each other. Sometimes we don't even know why we're mad at each other. Well, I didn't like the way she was looking at me. She wasn't even looking at you. She was looking past you. And, you know, or she said such and such. Okay. And I think I'm a person, like I go up to the person, I'm sorry, like, I don't know if I said something, but I didn't mean it. And I'm quick to be the bigger person. And I appreciate a lot. Be the bigger person. Be the bigger person. If you see there's something wrong. And I think once you get the concept of we don't have to be best friends or we don't have to be friends, then you end up becoming friends because you respect each other. And now you're respecting things you do that it kind of like draws you together. And on the other part about the guys being nicer to the girls, like I don't have guys around me that are disrespectful. It's just not gonna work with me. Like I've thrown guys out of a gym that their parents are paying for because they were disrespectful. It doesn't work. Like, and I have the people that I'm surrounded with, because my girls, they can play. So guys are always wanting to play them to prove something. And then they get their, they get their tails kicked or handed to them by girls that know how to play the game. So now they instantly got respect. I'm like, man, she can ball. Don't mess with her. So it's like, but anytime you're in the gym with me or anytime you're in a space with me, it's understood that we will respect each other. I can't make you like anybody. I just think that's really ignorant of me to think that. But I can have you say, respect is a common ground here. We're all blanketed with respect. And I think once you have that respect, all the other stuff will take care of itself. Because if you respect the person, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up liking them. But you know what I'm saying? Because you're like, oh, well, she ain't really that bad. She likes such and I like such and such. I can tolerate her. And then it was, but like, I have seen it. I have lived it where teammates have not quote unquote, liked each other. But when they get on that court, they're going to feed the ball to that person because they want to win. And all of them were hard workers. So that's kind of how I deal with like conflict or resolution. It's like, we're going to have a foundation of things that we're going to do, of what will be tolerated and will not be tolerated. And as long as we follow that foundation and the common rules and goals, we're good. Yeah, like as my son would say, we're Gucci. We're Gucci.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think that is an awesome place to end it. That's a really great kind of final thought for us to take with us. Carla, thank you so much for talking with us and for taking the time. Bridget, thank you so much for making this all happen so quickly. I really appreciate it. And I think the girls really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys taking time. This has been really fun. We have to do it again.
Yes.
Get this light. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. It's like,
Thank you for joining us.
We're going to say goodbye to Carla and Bridget. We'll stay here. We'll say goodbye to them. We'll stay here just so we can check out with each other. All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, Carla. Nice to meet you.
Have a great day.
Take care.